Arsenal have ended pre-season on a bang, smashing 3 goals past Athletic Bilbao in a game that we saw a midfield masterclass. Today we'll get a massive breakdown of what we learned from the game, reveal Mikel Arteta's latest tactical evolution, as well as talking the key detail behind Victor Gyökeres' goal. We'll break down Arsenal's latest confirmed deal, and find out what's happening with Eberechi Eze and Rodrigo. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Baz14. Welcome back to Buzz Channel, and I know you guys are doing sensational after an Arsenal masterclass in their final game in pre-season. As per, smash a like on this video if you do enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel if you are new, helping your boy enjoy the 300,000 subscribers. But starting off with what we learnt from Arsenal 3, Athletic Bilbao 0. As Arsenal won the Emirates Cup for the 4th consecutive year, it may just be pre-season and it's not a real trophy, but the performance itself is worth talking about. As Mikel Arteta went for a very strong lineup, with Raya and goal and Timber back in the team alongside Gabriel, Saliba and Calafiori, Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli and Gyökeres. Quite a few Arsenal players returning, one of course including Ricardo Calafiori. Starting as the Arsenal left back over Miles Lewis-Skelly, this game was quite a reminder, as Calafiori dropped a 6.7 rating, despite 1 error led to a shot, 2 of 3 ground balls won, and 14 accurate passes. The noticeable thing straight away is the player's heat map. Calafiori wasn't just playing as a left back, but playing inverted but also playing high wide as well. A unique performance from a unique profile. Despite having the size of a centre back, Calafiori is one of Arsenal's most progressive players. So for a team that sometimes can become too passive, Calafiori is very important in terms of our tempo, able to speed up the build-up phase with incisive passing, naturally being a forward thinker. The thing I love the most is the fact that he always plays with intent. A defender by trade, but one that also massively improves our attack. He is one of Mikel Arteta's secret weapons, in the fact that he allows us to play in a different style of play, but the more important question to ask is about his fitness. Despite looking sharp in this game here, I have no doubt of the quality of the player, but having seen last year the importance of availability, the key for Calafiori this year is just about staying fit. We then have to talk about the new signing Christian Mosquera, dropping a 7.1 rating in 28 minutes play, winning 2 of 2 ground balls with 24 touches and 19 accurate passes. What I've loved the most about this player is his versatility. From playing as a right centre back against Tottenham, to then right centre back and right back against Villarreal, in this game he was used as a left centre back, which is almost confirmation from Mikel Arteta. This is going to be our Takehiro Tomiyasu replacement. The player that also signed as soon as we let Tomiyasu go, despite Mosquera being right-footed and thriving on the right-hand side over his time at Valencia over the last couple of seasons, mainly playing as a left centre-back. His profile physically is so exciting. 21 years of age with so much raw athleticism, as well as being a very progressive player on the ball. When you think about the price tag and what Arsenal would receive, I can understand why a lot of Arsenal fans are very excited. A player that helps Arsenal fill in a lot of gaps, but in a game where he wasn't the only signing thriving. After Mikel Arteta gave Victor Gyökeres his 2nd consecutive Arsenal starts, forget about your Photoshop images, we now have the real deal. The celebration has indeed arrived, as Gyökeres dropped an 8.1 rating, scoring his first ever Arsenal goal in a game they had 2 shots on target and 1 shot off target, 1 of 2 dribbles and hitting the post 1 time. How ironic was it for his first ever Arsenal goal to be a header after all the claims that he was not that good in the air, having only scored 4 headers over his last 97 goals. In this game he could have had 2. Not only a testament to the player that he's trying to adapt to Arsenal, but more importantly he realises where he needs to improve. This, my friends, was a game where Victor Gyökeres properly arrived, with a better understanding of his teammates and when to rotate. Not only were players finding him more often, but I love the simplicity in his play, from his impressive one-touch link-up play, to also being so direct whenever he received the ball. His goal itself was a sign of change. With the arrival of Victor Gyökeres, Arsenal finally have a willing runner, a player desperate to make runs inside the box. So after a superb pass from Martin Zubimendi, you have to realise there's 20 players inside that box, but not a single one wanted that ball more than Victor Gyökeres. The desire of a striker with lovely sharp movement. Simple it may look, but trust me, it is not. As perfectly said by Mikel Arteta after the game, that is Gyökeres' nature. I think everything he does, his movement and the way he times his runs, the way he predicts his next move, where the space is and where the ball's gonna land, that is the instincts that he has. That is why he scored so many goals in the last few seasons. That is not a coincidence that he's constantly looking to score. His goals, his threat, he pins both centre-backs. He's a player that if you leave him with space 1v1, then he's going to destroy you. And it's definitely worth focusing on that movement, because for as sharp as Gyökeres was inside the box, we also saw the start of a potential new link. As shown by Gyökeres' heat map, not only was he playing a lot inside the box, but he was not scared to drift to the left-hand side. That's why we need to talk about the performance of Gabriel Martinelli, dropping a 6.9 rating with 1 assist. Despite only making 4 accurate passes, 1 was a key pass that was also a big chance created. I wouldn't say it was the perfect performance, but signs were definitely there of a potential rotation. Martinelli is a player that we know thrives centrally, so to finally have another partner like Gyökeres, who's comfortable drifting out wide and rotating with Martinelli, the prime example of that is the way that he got the assist. Gyökeres drops deep and Martinelli comes centrally, found by a lovely pass from Martin Odegaard, and Arsenal were in business. We can talk about the fact that he still needs to improve his efficiency, but in terms of impact and getting him into goal-scoring positions, Victor Gyökeres helps that massively. But talking of Arsenal left wingers, you also had a cameo for Nwaneri, coming off the bench at half-time and playing as a left forward, dropping a 6.9 rating with 1 successful dribble, 15 accurate passes and 1 big chance created, with a lovely cross for Victor Gyökeres where he easily could have got an assist. Madueke is very different to Gabriel Martinelli, being a natural left footer able to hold the width for Arsenal. In this game, not only do we see his crossing, but also a certain level of directness, with a lovely flick to Miles Lewis-Skelly, as well as constantly trying to take his man on. It was a cameo that got a lot of Arsenal fans thinking, do we see Mikel Arteta's vision of what Madueke could become? Because after the failed pursuits of Rafinha in 2022, the constant links to Brian and Mbeumo, and even Leroy Sané earlier in this window, Mikel Arteta has always wanted another left-footed wide attacker. Madueke is still only 23 years of age. By no means has proved to be a game changer, but this was a cameo that kind of changed the entire narrative, with so many Arsenal fans giving him a fantastic reception. He's a player that still has a massive point to prove, but as he says himself on his Instagram, much more like it and I can't wait for next week. So in a game that Arsenal won comfortably 3-0, there was no Max Dalman involved, who according to reports will not be available for the next few weeks. The club has given him a break as he joined in pre-season as soon as his school ended. He will now most likely return before the new school year, which makes total sense considering he's still only 15 years of age. Arsenal are doing their best to protect the player, and it helps when you've already got a world-class right winger playing in the starting line. In a game that Bukayo Saka dropped an 8.9 rating, with 1 goal and 1 assist with 2 key passes and 1 big chance created, 3 of 5 dribbles, 4 ground balls won. This was a game of him being at his absolute best, skimming his fullback time and time again, linking up with the likes of Victor Gyökeres and Martin Odegaard. For all the talk of Mikel Arteta failing to evolve, when you look at the role of Bukayo Saka over the past 12 months, a player given more and more freedom to go and influence games, you can see Mikel Arteta understanding his best players, and this game was a very positive sign. Saka alongside Gyökeres trying to find a connection. When you've got a player as dangerous as Victor Gyökeres, naturally able to attract players towards him, it gives Bukayo Saka a lot more space to work with, less of being double teamed with more options to play off. For a player that has 90 goals and assists over the last 3 seasons, only behind Mo Salah, Vinicius Jr. and Rafinha. Crazy when you think about the fact they missed nearly half of last season. You then had the performance of captain Martin Odegaard, playing 83 minutes and dropping a 6.8 rating, with 41 touches, 24 accurate passes and 1 key pass, with his heat map showing an emphasis on the right hand side, but also allowed to drift towards the left. Despite being so left-footed in terms of that second Arsenal goal, not only was Odegaard playing centrally, but it was a lovely pass on his right foot, looking more and more for through balls to find Victor Gyökeres. The idea of Arsenal being far more vertical, trying to hurt the opposition in behind. Despite Odegaard not being the KDB type of creator, without the ability to find elite crosses from the half space, when it comes to threading through balls in behind, that's where Martin Odegaard comes alive, helped by the fact that Arsenal also have a world-class double pivot behind him, playing more as a free number 10 to go and roam the pitch. The Arsenal midfield has taken another evolution, with an integral part behind that being the player of the match, Martin Zubimendi. In his first full Arsenal 90 minutes, dropping an 8.2 rating with 1 lovely assist, 46 accurate passes and 2 chances created, 5 of 6 accurate long balls, as well as winning more tackles than any other player on the pitch. Arsenal fans knew that we were getting a top player, but this performance was something else. The quality on the ball to be a pure metronome, not only dictating the Arsenal play, but giving us a certain level of flow. A performance that gave me Santi Cazorla vibes back in 2014. Zubimendi always seemed a step ahead, a player at ease with the ball at his feet, knowing exactly what he wants to do, not taking too much time on the ball, releasing after 2 or 3 touches. He's a player that Mikel Arteta has wanted for a long time. To now see the profile in play and thriving at Arsenal, you can see exactly why. Thriving alongside Declan Rice in Arsenal's midfield, the Paella pivot had arrived, as Rice himself dropped a 7.6 rating, 68 touches, 54 accurate passes, 5 of 5 accurate long balls. These are 2 players that are very complementary. Having seen Rice thrive in 2023-24 when playing alongside Jorginho, Zubimendi is of a similar profile, a pure dictator of play, while also having so much more physicality in his game. These 2 just work together very nicely, providing Arsenal the perfect base to build on. In a game that was by far our best performance of pre-season, he even had a goal for King Kai Havertz coming off the bench, dropping a 7.7 rating with 1 fantastic goal, with 2 shots on target and 2 out of 2 passes. The pace itself may have been surprising, but it was more the power in his stride, able to hold off the defender and finish the ball into the back of the net. Havertz has never been a slow player, but at a massive height at 6'4", balance has always been a problem. But after a recent physical transformation, not only is Havertz far more sturdy, but he's also learning how to use his body. In a very ironic game, where Gyökeres scored a header and Havertz scored out of transition, an exciting reminder for Arsenal fans of what we have going into this season. 2 strikers that I believe can play together, But even if one's gonna start, the idea of a Havertz coming off the bench, up against tired legs, could massively work in Arsenal's favour, with Arsenal winning resoundingly, 58% possession and 4 big chances, 10 shots and 6 corners. It was also a reminder to some Arsenal fans, following all the negativity after Wednesday, the first time that we'd seen our main first team play together. Tell me now, did you see any changes? Were Arsenal playing different to last season? Because it seems to me that sometimes our fans forget, without your main first team players playing, there is always going to be a natural drop-off. So with a perfect end to pre-season, Old Trafford is looming next Sunday. So moving on to the latest Arsenal news. In a game that you had Andrea Berta alongside Mikel Arteta after the game, both having a private conversation, for Arsenal sporting director it has been a very busy summer, not only completing 6 signings, but also getting some major deals over the line. The latest that was confirmed on Friday, Nwaneri had signed a new long-term Arsenal contract, a deal that was agreed weeks ago. As Nwaneri says himself, signing this contract means everything to me. This is where I feel at home. A player that was born just 2 miles away from the Emirates Stadium, the first ever Arsenal player to play that was born after the Emirates Stadium was created. Nwaneri is quite literally Arsenal through and through, with a brand new number at 22. Last year we saw a breakthrough, but this year could be completely different. From being mainly used by Mikel Arteta as a number 10 in pre-season, it looks like Nwaneri is finally going to be the competition for Martin Odegaard. For a player who says himself, I'm a very versatile player, so I think I'm going to play anywhere across the front 5, and I'm ready to do what the manager needs. I think I've actually become more direct over the past few years, and I've added more goals. This is going to be a major year for Nwaneri. How much does Mikel Arteta trust him? Can he earn a place over the Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard? But for Andrea Berta, it's also another step in the right direction, having now got 3 contracts over the line, Gabriel, Ethan and Miles Lewis-Skelly, as well as 6 signings as well. Next up you've got Bukayo Saka and William Saliba. But here was the Arsenal sporting director himself, watching Victor Gyökeres score his first ever Arsenal goal, but seemingly unmoved. That is because this is a man that understands the job is not done. Not only are Arsenal still on the market for new signings, but we've also got a lot of players to move out. So starting off with the future of Reece Nelson, according to Ryan Taylor, Fulham remain in discussions for Reece Nelson and have been trying to structure an initial loan, but Arsenal favour a permanent deal. Nelson also has other suitors from the Premier League, and Arsenal view him as one of the most sellable assets. After a loan in 2024-25 for a player currently earning over 100k a week at Arsenal, there's a reason why Andrea Berta is trying to move him on. Then you've got the future of Fabio Vieira, who according to Ryan Taylor, Stuttgart are continuing discussions over a permanent transfer for Fabio Vieira, with Arsenal seeking a package worth up to 20 million euros. For a player that Arsenal once signed for 35 million pounds, it's not the price tag that I would have wanted, but with the lack of teams making permanent offers, the window is getting closer and closer towards an end, so Arsenal need to find a solution. You then have the future of Albert Sambi Lokonga, a player that was a part of our tour of Asia and the matches squads in the Emirates Cup, but failed to receive a single minute in the first team. According to Ryan Taylor, there are so far no formal offers of Lokonga from any clubs, and according to Sami Mokba, if Arsenal can't offload Lokonga permanently, he will be available for a loan at the back end of the window. But one player that Arsenal have received an offer for is defender Jakub Kiwior, who according to Ryan Taylor, Porto recently made a £23.4 million offer, an initial loan with an obligation to buy, for Jakub Kiwior, but it was not entertained by Arsenal. Kiwior is also admired by Juventus and other Italian sides. The one to watch could be AC Milan. Having recently sold Malik Dior to Newcastle United, they are on the market for a centre-back, and Kiwior is a player they've liked for a very long time. But with Arsenal already saying no to a £25 million offer, I wonder at what price tag will Arsenal start negotiations. With the arrival of Christian Mosquera, as well as the ability of Calafiori to also play as a left centre-back, this could be one to watch. But in terms of Arsenal and their rivals, according to Mikel Arteta, we are actively looking at options. So in terms of Crystal Palace's Eberechi Eze, when Palace manager Oliver Glasner was asked on if Eze will be a Palace player beyond the transfer deadline, he said he will play on Sunday definitely, as Crystal Palace beat Liverpool 3-2 on penalties to win their first ever Community Shield. Eze indeed was involved, starting on the left hand side of a front 3, but dropping a 5.9 rating with 2 out of 4 dribbles, 1 big chance missed, as well as missing in the penalty shootout. Here was the player after the game, walking down the Wembley steps, with someone saying, "Eze, are you coming to Arsenal?" The response of the player being a salute. But according to Sami Mokba, do I think Eze to Arsenal will happen? As of today, I would say not happening, where I think there might be leeway if they can sell Leandro Trossard and maybe one other, as Eze could arrive as a multifunctional forward. Something that Arsenal fans have heard for a very long time in this window. The arrival of Eze seems to be linked to who Arsenal can get off their books. But in terms of Trossard's future itself, according to Sami Mokba, I think there is a chance that Trossard could leave Arsenal at the start of the window when there were positive talks over his contract. I thought that it was near nailed on that he would stay, but since then talks have not progressed well. Arsenal more and more open to letting the player leave, but it being more a question of what level of offers arrive. But with the idea of the Arsenal fan base being, we also need a pure left forward. According to Sami Mokba, Arsenal's interest in Rodrigo is absolutely genuine, but the stumbling block is the cost and the wages, which will be £250,000 per week, if not more. If it was a loan, there would have to be some sort of obligation. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all over social medias, and the links are down below in the description. But that was all of your latest Arsenal news today, as well as what we learned from Arsenal 3, Athletic Bilbao 0. It was a superb performance and the perfect ending to the pre-season ahead of Old Trafford on Sunday, my friends. As per, I'll see you next time. Take care and good night.